So, all right then. This week on the Slaptail Squad, we're talking about cybernetic parts, replacement parts, artificial intelligence, human enhancement. And I thought that maybe, just to make it interesting, I'd do it in my Irish accent. Sure, it's shite, and I may be a bit of an arse, but that's what you've come to expect from the Slaptail Squad. So let's get slapping.
Slaptail Squad, assemble.
If you're listening to this, you are a member of the great Slaptail Nation, my nation. And who am I? Well, I'm the Beaveman, master of the universe, creator of all things great and small, and Lord High Commander of the great Slaptail Nation Army. And I welcome you. I welcome you to the Beaver Lodge. And with me today in the Uniden is the Rons, my number 2.
In the Uniden?
Yeah, the Uniden. I've said that before. Is this the first time you've actually understood what I said? When
it didn't make sense to me along with your accent, but okay, I got it.
Still not your intro. My number 2, the Rons.
Hey, B-Man, how are you doing?
Okay, there you go. Nicely done.
All right, glad to see you sitting next to the Swan. Now, for all those who are listening, get ready to berate the Swan on 3, 2, 1, and go!
Why are you introducing the Swan? Is that your job? Do you not know your role?
Apparently, I don't know my role. Is
also
it a jelly
with
roll?
me,
a bagel roll?
Yeah, it's definitely a jelly roll. Also with me here in the Beaver Den is the Swan. Say hello, Swan.
Hello, Swan.
Nicely done. See, that's how it does. That's how it's done, Ron. How many times have we done it that you still don't know? Dare I say, what the fuck you're doing?
You're right. I do not. I'm so glad you were here to guide me on this journey.
Okay, very well.
Also
with us,
weird pause that he does.
Yeah, he just pauses. It makes you think that he's going to say something, but then he doesn't say anything.
Yeah,
that's why I pause.
Also with us today, friend of the show, fellow podcaster, the monotone with a microphone from the Monsters Den, all the way from Fresno, California, famous for almost having Daniel LaRusso visit for the summer, is JD from the Monsters Lair.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me back.
It's good. Thanks. Ron, shut up. He wasn't talking to you. JD, thanks.
He said
thanks
guys.
Yeah, well, it was implied that he wasn't talking to you. So,
well, are you calling the Swan a guy?
No, he also wasn't talking to the Swan. He also wasn't talking to the Swan.
So you, which multiple personality was he speaking to then?
He was talking to our listening audience.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, pay attention. Swan.
Yes.
This is JD.
Hi, JD.
Hi, Swan. Nice to meet you.
You too.
JD.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is the Swan.
Hi, Swan.
Hi, JD.
Ron.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Nice to meet you too.
This is JD.
Big fan of JD and his podcast, and so is the Little Powder Donut. So it's glad to have him back.
Well, we're growing the Monsterage by the minute. I like it.
Yes, excellent. Nice job. Way to go. Way to go to promote JD there, Ron. Nice job.
Oh, thank you.
Parts.
Do you want to give him a shout out?
Oh
Because
my
he's
God.
here. He's here. Do you want to shout out, Rons?
To the
Shout
Monsters
out.
Lair?
Yeah.
Shout out to the Monsters Lair.
There
right?
you go. There you
Little
go.
Powder Donut. And thank you, by the way, to those who listen to our podcast and your podcast who come up to me and go, hey, you made it on his podcast with the JJ thing. So thank you.
You had a lot of people.
I would do it. I did.
Yes, you did.
So you had a lot of people come up to you and say that, Ron?
No, just one or two.
That's a lot in Rons' world.
It is.
Was one of the two people me?
Yes, it was. Actually, it was. Boy, you're okay. So you're actually just kind of killing me here. So,
Was the other person Little Powder Donut?
Maybe. Maybe.
All these people have been coming up to me and they've been saying, Rons, way to go. You made it on another person's podcast.
I think he's just trying to take credit for your podcast, JD. So your influx of listeners is due to the Rons.
No.
Anything Hard R wants to take credit for I'll allow it.
Ooh,
No,
hard
no, JD
R.
works
He's
very
more of
hard
a-
on his podcast. He deserves all the credit, right? I love how he incorporates his kids in there, the little heathens, and his wife in there, and it's like that. I really enjoyed the Winchester thing and the tour podcast. I thought it was great, and I got into part of the lycanthrope thing. Maybe you should show Swan how to do that, because apparently you're not getting any of that either. So anyway, I did like the podcast.
I've noticed that every time we have someone, he doesn't do this with the female guests.
No, he doesn't.
Every time we have another male guest on, somebody male joins us, the Ron's literally gushes over there, and it's pretty disgusting.
Well, when was the last time we had a female guest on?
We had the wino on.
Yeah.
And you didn't gush all over her.
I did too.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I did, but you guys kind of kept it in check too.
No, every time we have a male guest on,
Well,
you
that's
just
all we have.
Just a little.
one
every
female
single
guest out of how
time
many
we
male?
have some male on.
Just a little.
That's what happens every single time. And I think the reason why is obviously because you know why, right?
We know why.
You know why, Ron?
Would you hit the button? I don't know how the JJ works.
I think that's why.
If you're gonna queue up, make sure you got your cues ready to go.
Don't tell me how to use the equipment there.
You mean Mixie?
Yeah.
Well, apparently you're not using it in the bedroom.
Anyway,
so...
you can't do Ohio. Anyway, parts. I need new parts. I've decided that I need new parts. My joints hurt very badly, and I would like to request some replacement parts. I'm already part cyborg, so I think that I should just start really optimizing it.
Do you want to elaborate on that a little?
Like what?
Like
Elaborate which parts I need?
Where would you start with, like, your big toe?
No, I would get rid of both of my elbows. Well, probably both my shoulders actually also, and my wrists and my hands. So I probably just need full-on cybernetic arms.
So keep the brain, replace everything else.
No, that's not. I just said arms. You're not listening.
I am listening.
I said arms.
Uh-huh.
I would definitely get rid of my knees, my feet, and my ankles.
And your toe? What about your toe?
Well, if you got rid of his feet, the toes go with it.
I'm going to have to agree with Ron's on that. If my feet go, probably my toes are not going to stay.
I mean, they might.
Why would I keep my toe?
I don't know.
You do know the toes are part of the foot, right?
Are they?
Yeah, they really are. I mean, you don't have to be a medical person to figure that out. I think you know that as a baby, rocking back and forth, playing with your feet, that you know your toes are part of your feet. Why would I get the hind foot and the midfoot and keep the toes?
Because they do replace those parts.
Why wouldn't I just get rid of the whole foot?
Okay,
That's what I said. Ankles and foot.
Okay, all right.
Anybody else got artificial parts in them already? Anybody else?
Not yet.
Ron's
not
does.
yet, yeah.
He has it lodged in his asshole. But...
There you go.
Ron's is like, not at the moment.
It's like, no.
Like, not at the moment, but come back later in an hour. No, we don't want to come back later. I have artificial parts, so.
You got metal legs.
I have got a metal plate in my left ankle, and I have a metal screw in my neck.
Okay.
But it has yet to enhance me in any way.
I thought you were going for a lower
enhancement. It just makes you hate life when it gets cold outside.
No, more like it. I don't notice so much when I'm cold, but if I accidentally bang my ankle on something, then I notice.
Why don't you tell us the Tough Mudder story?
Why don't you tell us the Tough Mudder story?
No, that was great.
You know what you should never do? You should never say, "Why don't you tell us a story?" when you could just go into the story.
Because it's more funny when you say it.
It's actually more interesting if you just start telling the story.
Okay, I'm going to tell
JD,
the story.
why don't you tell us the Tough Mudder story?
Yeah, JD, why don't you tell us the Tough Mudder story?
If I had a Tough Mudder story, I would be happy to share it. But alas, I've never been in the Tough Mudder competition. So
it's not much of a competition.
Yeah.
I mean, it was better the first year.
Are you just going to tell the story, Swan, or are you just going to...
story. Would you stop interrupting?
It's story time.
It starts with, I grew up in Detroit. No, this one doesn't start like that. But so we decided to do a Tough Mudder as a team. I think the first year you did not break your ankle first. You didn't have any metallic parts there. Second time, because you went through it no problem the first time. So it was after you broke your ankle. The second time we did it, we were at the very last obstacle. That is like the hanging wires that shock you with electricity that you have to run through. And you have to like go through the mud and climb over some hay bales and things like that. And everybody was tucking behind. The Beaveman, Tremonde was tucking behind. Nick was tucking behind. Me and you ran through it. You got zapped, and you said, what did you say?
I don't know. Why you tell me what I said.
Well, I don't know. Like,
I said it felt like someone took a baseball bat and knocked my ankle out from underneath me.
and literally he like dropped to the ground, and then Tremonde and Nick ran over him. Didn't even try to help him up. Like used him as like a step ladder to climb over him and get through it, so that they didn't get shocked while he's like arced in pain from being electrocuted on the ground. It was kind of great.
Yeah, Nick basically did run over the top of me and
He
push me
did.
out of the way.
And Nick is like a big boy. Nick was, like running over him and just like screeching like a girl, and ran right over and didn't even like offer an arm down to help or anything. Just
We call that the flesh bridge.
yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. Yeah, you'd have thought they were trying to breach a wire obstacle.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, not really.
I think we have pictures of it too, like where you're like,
Yeah, where I'm down in the water. Yeah, anyway, the
Yeah.
point is I need some new parts. I would be really cool with getting some new parts, replacing the knees, the ankles. I will keep the calves and the thighs. Actually, though, if you replaced your hip joint, you could just totally swivel your leg all the way around, which would be pretty dope.
Like an old G.I. Joe figure, just completely rotate your leg 360.
Yeah, except I don't want to wind it all the way up and snap the
Would
rubber
you
band
have
in the
a
middle.
Kung Fu grip then?
Right.
Would I have a kung fu grip?
Yeah, if you're going to do the G.I. Joe thing, you
No.
have a Kung Fu grip.
No,
Why?
because I wouldn't have my hand just fixed like that. I wouldn't have a cybernetic hand. I, for one, welcome that. I hope that happens before I'm an old man. Because
Kung Fu grip? You can work on that now.
cybernetic parts, Ron. Stay with the program.
We already have them
not in widespread use, we don't.
that you know of.
Why don't you tell us about it then?
Oh,
Was that part
God.
of your
Here we
top
go, yeah.
secret
Tell us about,
fueling
yeah.
story?
Tell us about all your black ops shit that you did in the Air Force, Rons. Were
Well, I
you
can't
part of
talk
that? Did
about
you
it.
fuel the vehicles for all these cybernetic parts vehicles that all the
I can't
prosthetics
talk
that went
about
from
that.
place
You
to
know
place?
that.
It's
I
classified.
can't talk about
Tell
that.
us about how you fueled up the stealth bomber for all of its missions.
Oh, I never did that, by the way.
What
I
about
never
when you
did
fueled
that.
up the space shuttle?
Well, you're not supposed to know about that, neither am I.
Oh, so why don't you tell us that cybernetic parts are in widespread use?
Well, first of all, it's the basic concept of hand replacements there, right? So if you look online, you can see how it's coming along, right? I watched about a year or 2 years ago a hand replacement, and the gentleman was still figuring out how to do new things with it. And then there's the open source material that people make for like the Iron Man hands and everything. So it's out there. It's still in development, but it's out there and it's becoming more and more widespread. As far as the eyes go, you get contact lenses.
Do you know what widespread use means?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think widespread use means?
It's when you go and get a prostate exam, you bend over and they grab,
That's terrible.
That's true.
Ron's, where did you see this hand creation at? Was this like a YouTube video, or is this just like a back alley somewhere?
He was watching the first
what if I
Iron
said
Man.
It was a little of both, the back alley, in a sliding panel of hand.
It's also where he has his widespread use, is in the back alley. No, Rons, I don't think you know what widespread use means. The fact that they do have cybernetic hands that people have been using, where they've got, what do they call it? The neuromuscular or the neuromechanical junction, or what do they call that? Widespread use would mean 6 out of your 7 friends that at least one of them has a cybernetic part.
Well,
or lots of people that have cybernetic
I can't
parts.
count that high because I don't have a cybernetic hand there.
Remember when I said when you try to be funny?
Yeah.
If you could just be yourself. Just be yourself.
Be Ron.
Just be Ron's. Just be runs. Widespread use means that we would commonly see people with cybernetic parts. I don't even commonly see, I mean, even in my profession, I don't commonly see prosthetics.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of your patients had their parts lopped off.
Yeah.
So, would you welcome the cybernetic the parts, Rons?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You got anything that you want replaced?
Oh yeah, sure.
Like what?
One, eye enhancement. Right. So that way, I could see into the dark or, long distance, short distances better.
So just have that
So vision.
cataract, so cataract surgery.
So
Well,
vision.
The
I would
prototype
like to be able to see distance
And close up.
and close up
And maybe
and colors.
Well, the thing is, being an amateur astronomer, I would love to see the stars a little bit more
he
clearly.
wants telescope eyes.
Yeah, I do.
Well,
I
next
mean,
time you're at
it-
the dojo, if you want to see stars, I'll show you stars.
I bet you will.
Hi-yo.
Throwing stars too. The other thing is when you look at the augmentation of body parts, what's not to like? Right. I mean, if we could, you're basically thinking about the Bionic Man, which I grew up in my era, right? Bionic Man, Bionic Woman, right? Who knew they were called cybernetics, right? They had eye
Well, I
replacement.
don't think he was
legs.
called the Bionic Man.
Yeah, he was.
No, he
$6
wasn't.
million man.
Yeah, okay, but that's not the. Oh, you son of a bitch.
Oh,
The
okay,
show
what's
was
the point?
not the Bionic Man. It was the Bionic Woman. That's what I just said. You're like, no, yeah, he was. No, he wasn't. That's not what it was
Well, he
called.
referred to as the Bionic Man.
The show was not called the Bionic Man.
Oh, God. Were you?
Lee Majors.
So for me, the cybernetics thing, I think, if it was something that I needed to have replaced, I would be into it. But I don't think I'd just be out there getting designer parts per se.
Yeah, you don't want to just be
Having
modified.
something-
Yeah, like what
nah.
was that show that had all those people that were modified?
Name it.
I
There's
don't
been a
know.
shitload of
No, the
shows.
one that like the Star Wars one, maybe? Or no, what
Well,
was it?
Star Wars. You're right about
That
Star
whole
Wars
group
with the hand.
that had like the people that rode the motorcycles and all that. What was that movie we watched?
That was The Mandalorian.
Oh, okay. Well, it is Star Wars then.
No,
Okay.
that was the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
actually.
the Book of Boba Fett.
What were
Those-
they called? The mods?
Yeah, that was kind of lame.
Yeah, I'm not a big
Yeah,
fan
so
of that.
it was lame.
Like, why would they be doing that? Like, let me just take my guts out and replace them. I mean, but yeah, like you said, JD, if you needed it, sure.
Well, I need it. I would like to have my joints all replaced.
Or you could always go like the Oscar Pistorius route and just get metal legs and then dominate everyone in running competitions
Mm-hmm.
and just become like a super mega worldwide known athlete
Yeah, but
with
didn't
like
he?
zero competition.
Yeah, but wasn't he also indicted for trying to kill his girlfriend or something?
Not trying, he successfully murdered his girlfriend through the bathroom door that she was locked behind with a
Well,
hand.
there you go. Not only an accomplished runner, but an accomplished murderer too.
Yeah. Good
Don't be
runner
like
and not
him.
a bad shot either.
Yeah, that's not great. No, I watched that. Have you guys seen that documentary? It's called The Big Reset. Have you seen that?
No.
No, I have not.
Speaking of cybernetic or enhanced legs. So what that guy was wearing though, he was just wearing really good prosthetics. There's a guy who developed these his legs actually have AI. They have 3 computers in them. And he designed them to respond just like your tendons and your ligaments would. So he can go rock climbing, he could run, he does all this stuff. And he said, he's like, if I'm wearing my legs, I have no disability whatsoever. If you take them away, obviously I do. But with them, I'm not disabled at all. And so his legs actually learn from his movements.
That's creepy.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know.
But it's the same people who are developing the arms and that whole, that neuromuscular pathway or what do they call it? Neuromechanism? I don't know.
Oh.
I think it's pretty rad. I mean, and then the fact that we just happen to live in the era where, all this stuff that once upon a time was sci-fi.
Oh, I
like
agree.
me growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, we had movies like Terminator. where, you know, all that's like way in the future, and then here we are in this lifetime still, and it's starting to come to fruition with
Yeah, I was going to bring that
cybernetics.
up. That is awesome too. I totally agree with you, JD, on that.
Well,
So
way
I
to
think
be a
it's
yes man instead of expanding.
Well, I was going to expand, but I was going to let him finish.
But you
But
felt
I
the
think
need
it's
to
like-
interrupt him to tell him
Yeah,
you
yeah,
agreed
yeah.
first.
You interrupted him to say you
let's
agree.
avoid interrupting JD here.
I think it's like any modern science that's out there right now. It's really dependent upon who's using the technology and for what. Because the future of AI, I think, is eventually going to affect like every single industry that exists. So it's something that we have to take great care with and not let get out of hand, and maybe not let it into the hands of people that could use it, you know, for ill-gotten gains.
Well, it's actually pretty subtly out of hand already. They showed, when I was watching that same documentary, they showed an example of fake news, basically. What they did was there was this social media that all these people posted these videos showing these adverse reactions to the HPV vaccine in China, which was bullshit. And that immediately spread on social media. And what they did was they kind of like graphed it out with a computer, and they showed how easily fake news spreads in comparison to actual true news, and it's all AI based. So if you access something that you're interested in, it actually pings off of other things that you're interested in, which we already know, and it also connects you with people who have the same interests. So you're just forming this giant social bubble of all these like-minded thought people, and so it's easy for that fake news to spread so easily. Because I was watching the video, I was like, oh yeah, that's bullshit about the HPV vaccine, whatever. Anyway, but then the lady who disproved it all even wrote a book about it, won this big award. Still, nobody believe, all these entities still don't believe her. They tend to believe all the fake shit. But that's a use of AI.
Yeah, we saw that in action already too with the whole Trump presidency. I mean, you had people walking around believing, you know, if they drink bleach, they wouldn't get COVID. So,
Well, they
you know,
would.
people
They
are
would
easily
die.
swayed.
That's true.
You know, not only by AI, but just false information in general, let alone an AI service that's aggregating it and doing it purposefully. You know, it's kind of a scary thought.
So, along with that concept of AI, do you think AI is here already and growing?
Oh yeah, AI has definitely gotten a hold on us already. I mean, you can do a quick YouTube search right now, and whether you're looking for negative or positive outcomes, it's there. Everything from, you know, driverless car accidents. If you Google that, you'll get all these videos. But then on the flip side, on the positive side of it, if you look up like the magnetic slime robot, I don't know if you guys have seen videos or anything about that.
No, but I
it's
think
pretty
that's what Ron's named his vibrator.
No, yeah.
So basically, it's this little like dab of slime that looks like mud. It's brown in color. It's remote controlled, and it's basically a robot in goop form. And they put this inside your body, and what they're looking to use it for eventually is like, say, if a kid is playing with a toy and swallows a small piece, or like a magnet, which has the potential to like turn septic in their system and harm them. They send this little remote controlled AI robot in there, and it basically completely encompasses whatever they swallowed, and they're able to like remotely remove it from their system without doing any like invasive surgery or anything. It's pretty interesting.
Oh, that is pretty interesting. I think AI is, I don't know, personally, I think AI is pretty freaking dope. I for one welcome our robot overlords. I feel like we should fuse with them. No, if we fuse with them, I mean, okay, look, the human race is not contributing in any way, shape, or form. It would be much better if we fused with mechanical stuff to become this sort of hybrid. I mean, because when the universe decides that the human race no longer needs to exist, and we're wiped out, and there's no other like intelligent life for a few thousand years, no one's going to miss us, just like we don't miss the dinosaurs. The next race will come along, the next species or whatever. But if we fuse, it'll be pretty freaking sweet. Plus, we don't have to keep,
You're all in on Skynet going live then?
Well, I think that, like I said, we just need to kind of you need to take the bio and link it with the mechanical. I think
So
that's a good idea.
basically a biomechanical man. I think that we're in the process of seeing AI in its earliest forms.
You keep
because
saying that
everything-
we've already established that AI exists already.
Yeah, but
Here's
it's,
where you give us lots of examples, Rons. Go ahead.
Please tell us about DOS. ahead. Please explain MS DOS to us.
So how
no.
did the zeros and ones become not zeros and ones, Rons? Go
when
ahead.
they became twos.
Please
Right.
explain the Commodore 64 and go.
Well, the Commodore 64 is one of my. I have one actually right here in my
See,
office.
exactly. And you
Right.
taught my grandma how to use her email, didn't you?
He's
Yeah,
like,
I did.
He's like, let me bust out the tech. He brings out his Texas Instruments calculator,
Hey, back
his
then that
Casio
was the
watch.
shit.
It's like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
ding.
Well,
His Palm Pilot.
Hey, Palm Pilots were dope.
They were.
I don't
pretty
know
cool.
how well the rumors are that Google has developed a sentient AI, right? Versus an AI that is basically a mathematical equation telling us right yes or no. Sort of like, when you download a video or you watch a video on YouTube, you got the good and the bad. That's actually a mathematical equation of yes and no. It's not sentient.
Mhm.
So how close are we to a sentient AI? And that's
Well,
the
if you
thing.
believe the tinfoil hat crowd, Ron's Elon Musk already has one that's sentient, and that's the whole reason he's doing this Twitter coup, where he's trying to take over Twitter for his own gains, and basically, like Beaveman was alluding to earlier, the misinformation machine,
Mhm.
and basically controlling this whole thing from Twitter. But I don't know how far down the wormhole people have gone on that, but there's a big conspiracy surrounding that right now. And
Oh, interesting.
the rumor is he supposedly has some sentient AI that wants to basically evolve the human race to be mechanized.
I, for
Ooh.
one, welcome our mechanical overlords.
Overlords.
So you want to like be buddies with Elon Musk then, huh?
No,
No.
he's got a screw loose. No, but when
But that screw can be tight with one of those mechanical things.
right. My friend would have that gadget finger. Dude, you can't say Inspector Gadget wasn't dope. He was dope.
He was.
He had like arms and legs.
Yeah, go gadget arms.
And his roller skate feet. Yeah.
Yeah, see?
For me, it was his ability to make trench coats not creepy. That takes some skill.
That's pretty true. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows what he was packing in those gadget pants.
Well, not to mention the fact that his sidekick was an underage girl.
Well, that was his niece.
A little strange.
The dog was cool.
Yeah, the dog was cool. And then, of course, I loved his vehicle. Because it went from like a normal car to like this kind of race car look.
Anyway, they already have AI. Just to dispel that for you, Rons. They already have AI. What you're saying is there AI that's sentient? That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Did you read that article, though, about that whole Google thing?
No, I did not.
Oh, so here's the deal. Here's the thing. Is the Google engineer, I guess we would say, who's saying that the Google AI is sentient, he's asking it questions and having conversations with it, but the AI is designed to understand how you talk and therefore would answer questions and speak like a human. That's how it's designed.
It reminds me of a program called Alice. That's all. Keep going.
Is it okay? Do you mind if I... Did you want me to finish the story, or did you want to talk me about your pro...
No.
Maybe you'd like to talk about some bands from the 40s. Go ahead.
I would, but
How
I
about a
don't know
TV
any.
show from the early 70s?
Oh, the Bionic Man.
The Bionic Man? Yeah. Anyway, so he's been asking the AI questions, and the responses that he's getting makes him think that it's sentient. But then if you listen to well, of course, if you believe them, the people who from Google are saying, no, it answers questions based on your personality and based off of the questions that you ask. And so he's asking it leading questions, and it's responding to him and saying, oh, I have dreams. Oh, I think I have a soul. And also, he's like some sort of new age minister or something like that. So he's already asking it goofy questions. So he might be getting some answers that the AI thinks he wants to hear and giving to him, if you believe that. Or maybe it's actually sentient. Who knows? But I, for one, welcome our mechanical overlords and therefore wish to merge with them, especially if they make a good fembot. If they make a dope fembot, I'm in.
I was going to make that point because traditionally, I mean, the porn industry kind of is the catalyst for directions that businesses go in. Like back in the days when they were trying to decide between Laserdisc and DVDs, they went with whatever platform supported porn. So, if the sex industry goes into the form of AI bots, I think it's a wrap.
Yeah, I mean, everything is directly related to a few things, right? It's either money, power, sex.
Well, all the movies that you watch when
Pooping.
there's like robot people, they're women like that are
Well,
guys
do you think
fantasy
also
wives.
because
Yeah, shut the fuck up, Ron. Jeez, I was
yeah,
talking.
no, I agree with what you were about to say. Not really.
he's
But-
like, let me just interrupt you
Let me
to
interrupt you
agree.
to agree with you.
But do you
And
think
then-
that'll be the downfall of the human race that men will start dating their robot women?
Why would it be the downfall of the human race?
Because
It would
they can't
save
procreate.
it would save the human race. The downfall of the human race is the human race.
Overpopulation.
It's overpopulation.
Too much
It's-
inbred fuck syndrome.
It's overconsumption. It's overpopulation. If you were part robot or cyborg and there was more cyborg or more robots out there, we wouldn't need to produce 50 billion cattle and have rivers of shit everywhere catching the world on fire because of all the freaking production of the greenhouse gases. No,
Oh, is this
why
is
was
this a callback to the shit episode?
it's all about poop.
Bring it on back.
See, I can see how I can just bring that circle back to shit. It's true.
Everything goes to shit someday.
It wouldn't
We would
be the
smarter too.
it wouldn't be the end of the human race. It would save the human race. You know what I mean? Know what I mean, Vern?
To stay on topic with the AI and the sex industry, would we be able to do away with human sex work as well?
Well, okay, so yes, this is the other thing that would have to happen, in my opinion. Everybody else you would have to eliminate the monetary system because there would be no need for a monetary system. So in other words, we perform the work or we do the work just because for the benefit of society, you get rid of money. Therefore, sex workers wouldn't need to have sex for money. They could have it for fun, whatever, but you don't have to make it linked to, a way for you to pay for your existence.
STDs and diseases down, and this huge problem that the world globally is having with sex trafficking.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally puts an end to all that. I mean, I'm sure it would still happen in certain capacities, but I don't think it would be a global epidemic like it is now.
Yeah, and then let's face it, if we had some sort of a uplink or a cloud-based system, we could stop that stuff anyway. We could probably crush it pretty easily.
Right.
So
I just, in my mind's eye, I just picture like George Jefferson in the hover car, going down the street picking up the sex robot. And, yeah.
well, it would no longer have the opening credits of Jane, his wife.
It's
Right.
It's not George. It's Jetson.
George Jetson. Yeah,
George
he said
Jetson.
I was like, wait a minute,
Jefferson.
he's mixing a cartoon and one of my favorite sitcoms of all time, The
But,
Jeffersons.
Did I say
Yeah, he said George Jefferson.
I was just imagining George Jefferson in the little spaceship. I was like,
Yeah,
That
and
would be
that would go
dope.
back to moving on up. So I thought that's where he's going with this. He's moving on up.
And we all know George Jetson got all his needs met by Rosie the robot.
Oh,
anyways,
yeah.
So
well, she had a big dumper.
yeah, she could put a lot in there.
Big behind.
She could fit a lot in that
junk in the
dumper.
trunk, if you will.
Yeah, she makes some mean pancakes.
True.
So with AI possibly here, or it's already here.
Jesus Christ Almighty! It's already here, laddie.
There we go. Okay. I get this. However, how soon before we transfer consciousness to AI?
Well,
So we
Okay.
make these automaton blanks, right? How soon before we transfer our consciousness to it? And can we?
oh, so now you're talking about transhumanism. You want us to instead of
we support all
I knew
types
he
here.
was going to do
I did
that,
too. I
and he was
totally
going to
knew he
be,
was
and
gonna
he was
go
going to be
ahead and do it.
completely a fucking offensive. I knew he was going to do that.
I wasn't offensive to trans robots.
That's not what transhumanism means.
There's hard R.
Oh boy.
Anyway, how soon before we make the conscious effort?
Well, you can already have your head cryogenically frozen and kept for when the time comes where you can download your consciousness into a robot body.
This is facts because I did a episode on Ted Williams for my show.
You know what the
He's
scary
been
thing
frozen
is?
in a lab for years.
You know what the scary thing is? If you decide that you want to have that done, you have to be alive when they do it.
That's fun.
That's gross. Didn't they say that Walt Disney did that too?
Totally different thing.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a rumor that his head is at Disney, but
Yeah.
who knows? No, in order you can have your whole body or you can just have your head done. But they said that you actually have to be alive when it's done because the brain deteriorates so fast. So in other words, you couldn't pass away at home and then somebody makes a call and says, "Hey, I need you to come quickly harvest this."
So you're basically choosing your own death when you might have not even died then? Like, that's pretty scary.
Not really, not if you believe that you're going to be reanimated in a few hundred years.
Or if it's a situation where you have like a terminal illness and you think that maybe in like a few hundred years they might have a cure.
Yeah,
You
it
go
really
through, like a voluntary program like.
Yeah, and if they wouldn't, that's the kind of thing though, just like they wouldn't need your body anyway. You would suspect that they're just going to download you into something better.
Right.
And think of the cool superpowers or abilities you would have, right? First of all, you'd probably have no more pain, right? And that in itself is a great ability. You'd still have the consciousness of all your emotions, but you wouldn't be able to deal with pain. Two, you could probably survive in just about any environment. So exploration would be through the roof. So you go out to deep space and not be affected by the lack of oxygen. Or you could use minimal oxygen to travel. That'd be great. Imagine going to the bottom of the ocean or to the edge of the atmosphere and exploring things that we only dream about. That'd be fantastic.
I'd much rather come back with a bunch of fembots. What do I need to go to the bottom of the ocean for? If I get reanimated in friggin' 3,000 years, the first thing on my mind after I take a pee, hopefully I don't need to, is I'm going to be like, all right, what do the women look like now? And are they not so opinionated?
And Ron wants to be on the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, Ron wants to go to the edge of space.
No, yeah, I do. And with surgery, medical advancement, so you would no longer need like sleep. You could actually keep going. So I guess the surgical, if you had to perform surgery on humans, you could just keep going versus, taking breaks. So would our precisions in motor functions be a lot more precise?
Well, I would hope that we're not going to come back and be put in some clunky freaking trash compactor type robot. Like, this is all we had for you. This was a microwave from 1972, and this is what we're going to put you in. No, I don't think that that's...
Can only walk away a certain distance, otherwise you unplug yourself.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a great plan. I'm going to say that that's probably not what would happen. I would hope that's not what would happen, especially if you have to pay, how much money you would have to pay to be cryogenically preserved or however they do it.
So let's flip the script here a bit. Would evil still exist then?
What is evil?
What? So now that you're a cyborg or you have all these, you're a cybernetic unit, would you still be hell-bent on taking over the world?
What is evil exactly? What if we just had a common consciousness, or what if we had, our own link on what's good, what's bad, whatever?
So would you get rid of individualism then?
Who cares? If I'm going to live forever and I get some sort of a fembot or like an entire platoon of them, I don't think I'm going to really care.
You get the bottom of the ocean runs.
Yeah, you can have the bottom of the ocean, and you can.
The ocean. I want to explore space.
That's another good question with all this stuff, though, right? Like, if we're all cybernetic, we all become immortal. Does life have the same meaning?
Yeah. Oh, that's
As it does to
yeah.
us
Exactly where I was headed.
No, it wasn't.
You know,
Well, no, it was. It's like I
He
mean,
wants to go where you go, JD.
yeah, no,
He's
in a
going
roundabout
there.
way, I was going there because it's like he's right. Does life have a meaning then at this point?
I believe it does. Making just keep improving the fembot, and that's the meaning of life. Keep improving the fembot.
You're mentioning fembot. What would you have on your fembot?
They know you want me to describe it, and I'm not going to do that for you.
I guess you don't know.
What would you have on your man bot? Would your man bot look like Tremonde?
There we go. No one believes in me that you switched it on me, right? Well, they do.
You dig your own hole.
No. I just asked the B-man. He's hell-bent on getting a fembot, and I'll...
Yeah, but I don't have to describe the fembot. People can use their own imagination. I don't have to say
So
what
you're
I
gonna go
want
for
on it.
A fembot that looks like Rosie the Robot?
No. And I don't want a fembot. I said like a whole platoon of them.
He
Well,
wants
are
a
they all gonna
harem.
look alike?
Rons, why are you so interested in what the fembot has to look like? Why can't you just use your imagination? Use your imagination.
Fair enough.
Watch,
I will use
he
my
just
imagination.
closes his eye and imagines 10 Tremondes. 10 mechanical Tremondes.
No,
Pretty
I know what I
much.
wanted as a fembot.
If he says, I will
Yeah,
fucking
go ahead.
shit.
Let's hear what you want, Rons.
Little powder donut.
Oh my god, you're such a fucking liar. You are such a fucking liar.
God.
I'm sitting right next to my wife, and I would not say... Swan, do you think that I want a platoon of fembots that look like you?
No, because I wouldn't choose a platoon of man bots to look like you either.
And I applaud you.
Thank you.
And I, for
But it
one,
goes-
welcome
it goes
our
back to
mechanical
what we were-
overlords.
Please
JD and I
make
were going
mine
on
look
to
like...
earlier.
Shut up,
right?
Rons. Please make
No,
mine.
it goes back to what we were saying earlier.
Shut up,
You use
Rons.
the consciousness.
Please make mine look like long-haired Thor. Buff, long-haired Thor.
Yeah, you get more than one. Do you?
Well, my first one. My favorite one.
Okay. And I, for one, applaud your honesty. Whereas little cucumber popping up over there.
I want mine to look like...
I want my
just
eggs look
little
exactly
buttered
like little
donuts.
buttered donut.
What is wrong with? I mean, well, I guess if I had to be A, would I experience?
Well, one that
love
looks
then?
like my mom when she was like 20.
No. I'm gonna draw the line.
My
right
first
there,
grade teacher.
though. Oh, no.
My rabbi.
Rabbi, no. I'm gonna draw the line there.
Oh, that's
But,
not
It
good.
goes back to what JD was hinting at. I mean, now that
Basketball
Would
coach
love be-
refused to touch me.
would love exist? I mean, you're going.
Who
What is evil? What is love?
cares? Why do you care?
Because the emotions of a human, the consciousness of a human, sets us apart from the AI. And will AI develop consciousness? Which means then, as we said that, if you watch the Terminator series as well as the Elon Musk, as you mentioned, that we are the virus and we will be eradicated.
Yeah, so why do you want to fuck up the AI by teaching it love and shit like that? That's the downfall. Why you're now you're going to teach it greed, and you're going to teach it how to be petty and lazy and all that other shit.
So I mean, wouldn't you want to eliminate the evil and keep the good?
What is evil? What is good?
Are you going with the construct of the consciousness of it?
No, I'm asking
you're the
you.
one
What is
taking
evil?
it
Why do you
off.
keep saying eliminate evil and roll for good? And what is it?
Teach it
What is it?
love.
Would greed be evil?
That's what I'm asking you. You keep like, oh, we must do this for good and not for bad. And what defines what's good and what's bad?
Yeah, exactly, and that's my point. What would define that? Who would define that? In fact,
Fine, me. I'm in charge. In the future, it's all me. Me.
what about you, JD? Would how many fembots would you have, and what would it be? And don't
As
say
many
my
as I
answer.
could have, I guess.
And they'd all look like a little powdered donut.
So what would your fembot look like, JD?
Oh, Jesus.
They'd probably be similar to the ones from the Austin Powers movies that had the cannons in the chesticle area.
The testicles area?
The chesticle, not testicle, Riri. Oh,
He
Ron.
said testicle, and I said testicle.
Oh, it sounded like you said testicle, because that word probably comes out of your mouth so easily.
Hey there, members of the Great Slaptail Nation. It's me, the Beaveman, and I'm here to deliver you a message from beyond the stars about our sponsor for this episode, Swiss Navy. No matter who you love or how you love, Swiss Navy products set the bar for sexual enhancement. There's more glide, more comfort, and even products for longer lasting pleasure. Swiss Navy has a wide range of premium products to choose from for whatever amount fills your hole, if you know what I mean. My favorite product is Swiss Navy's silicone lube. Get it, use it, love it, and never be dry again. Once again, that's Swiss Navy at SwissNavy.com. And in your order comments, let them know the Slaptail Squad sent you. Swiss Navy, no matter who you love or how you love. Adios, mooch fuckos. I would also like to request that, what is it, the Ex Machina? I'd like to request one of those also.
I don't know what that is.
You've seen the movie.
Oh, well.
You forgot already.
I forgot, probably. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. I don't want them to look like the iRobot robots. That's not what I want. I'll pass.
Yeah, no, that's gross.
Yeah, no. I also...
no, there was a movie, Aveline or Angeline, the battle robot. That was just out not too long ago. Would you want to...
I haven't seen that, so I cannot comment. I have not seen that. No. Ooh, staticky. What about
AI picking up on this conversation?
Yeah.
Well, I am sitting right across from my work computer, so let me just comment on how great that company is. You know who you are. I will not say it by name. Anyway, yeah. What about the idea of transhumanism, though? What if it wasn't mechanical? What if we could just do some cool shit, but still stay bio and not mechanical?
I'm all for it.
Like the Hulk, or like, what do you think? What would you say? Transhumanistic, humanistic white lies. Would you have like the bio implants, or do you just want to be able to stay totally biological?
That's a good question. I think probably some implants would be cool. Like certain, like Ron's was alluding to with vision, maybe some like X-ray vision, or if it was like an implant that you could put in and like still have your faculties, your brain and everything, but maybe some cybernetic enhancements, or having the ability to like change size, like similar to like Ant-Man.
Hey, I was gonna say that. I thought that would be.
Did you want to interrupt him to say that?
I was. I wanted to be Ron's.
Let me interrupt
Okay,
you.
I'm done now.
Okay, go ahead. That's good. You sure?
Yeah, I'm done now. Yep.
Like, I was also gonna say that. No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't really gonna say that. I was politely waiting.
Oh.
I was politely waiting for the conversation to continue. Please go on, JD.
But yeah, I think that would be a cool ability. Maybe also.
I'm sorry, JD. I'm sorry. Who was the human behind you?
That is the oldest heathen. That's Haley.
I saw the screen and I'm like, oh, is that AI?
Hilarious.
Yeah, that's the robot overlords coming to make sure I'm not talking too much trash on them.
Good plan. I want super strength. I don't know how I would get that, but I want it.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the whole thing with the whole, I guess you could say transhumanism doesn't have to be robotic like. It can just be, how do we ascend to be better humans, or how do we advance as a species to make us way cooler? Which I think that's the, my opinion, it can only be through merging us with machines. I don't think you can make this better. I don't really, after all these years, what's the enhancement that humans have? We're less hairy.
So would we be more like, as we progress in this thing, would we be more like the Borg?
Sure, for everybody who knows what you're talking about. Swan, you know what the Borg is, right?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
So, Beatman, in like 10 years, can we expect you to have some like jacked up arms, like Jax from the Mortal Kombat series?
Yeah, I
Ooh.
just don't want anybody to freeze my arms and then smash them off or rip my arms off in order for me to get them.
Yeah, probably not the best way to obtain them. But
No. I don't want that. I'm okay with my just having like, shit joints that I have from all the things that I've done where they hurt really bad and the joints are always completely in pain and they just say, let's replace those. That would be, I'm okay. I really don't want my arms ripped off or frozen off or broken off or anything like that.
and how long would you give the timeline before we start seeing that enacted into the medical field if it hasn't already?
There's some really cool shit being done. One of the guys that I watched a video on, I can't remember who did it. He was selected, and the one thing that they asked him, like, just doing that neural link, what was it, that one thing, that the one task that he wanted to train the arm to do, and he said, I would like to be able to drink a beer by myself, and they were able to train his arm to do that. But clearly the one that and that's him using his brain to move the arm itself. Obviously the legs that guy has are totally different because he's not. I mean, he is walking with them and stuff, but that's a totally different thing to be able to reach out, grab something, lift it, and use it.
What about the exoskeleton guy? Like the that was paralyzed. Is his using his own brain or is it using
Well, I don't know the exoskeleton guy, so why don't you explain it?
It was like
you should never always say, what about that guy? And you're just assuming that we know what you're talking about.
I think it was done.
One was a dream.
No, it's not. It's a real thing, like through the government.
All right, so caveat, people listening, nothing we say is going to be accurate. The Swan is telling us a story that she dreamt.
I probably made it up. Yeah.
What did he have a glider?
No.
And was his helmet green?
He was not. No.
Did he laugh a lot and throw bombs?
Maniacally.
He
did.
Okay. Does he have some sort of an obsession with Spider-Man?
I feel like he says he doesn't, but underlyingly he probably does.
Okay. What do the voices tell him?
Kill Spider-Man.
Exoskeleton. Anybody? I don't know anything about exoskeleton.
Yeah, well, he has.
I don't know about the exoskeleton, but did you know about that guy that has the robotic arms that come out of his back? He has like 8 of them.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
He wears a trench coat. Wears a trench coat.
He makes a trench coat look creepy, though.
Yeah.
But he's like the evil doctor.
And why does he always look like his chest is all oiled up?
Evil Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, he is a little
sweaty
often.
The worst bowl cut I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think he's sweaty because he's always in pain, right? Isn't he like always in like pain from those things on his back?
No.
Oh.
No, Swan. Stop trying to read into shit. Like he's sweaty because he's in pain. He's sweaty because he ate a pork sandwich.
Oh.
He's always eating pork before he goes out and battles people. No, but into the Miles Morales one, the Into the Spider-Verse, that one was dope because Doc Ock was a chick. That one was pretty sweet. Cool take. Anyway, no, exoskeleton. I don't know anything about that. I do know that they had there was Secret Squirrel stuff that they did with exoskeletons like 20 years ago to make for battle.
Well, yeah, that's a reality. But also look in the movie Aliens when she uses an exoskeleton. So you're talking a massive scale, and they still have those.
How do you know that's a reality, Rons? Did you fuel those ships?
Mm-hmm.
You've never seen an exoskeleton in use?
Well, you do know those weren't real exoskeletons that they used, right? In Alien.
No, they have real exoskeletons.
Right, but you said,
He doesn't remember what he says.
So, do you guys think that AI is possible?
Yeah.
When will we see some sort of example of AI?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw this really cool one in that in a documentary where they built the basic program and then they put all these shapes in front of it was a little robot arm, and the robot just kept trying to pick up the parts, and it practiced over and over and over again, and it taught itself to sort the parts like into this, the same shapes, like, the little cylinder with all the little cylinders, and then they showed how it would try to learn. So they threw like a pair of pliers in front of it, and it had never seen pliers, so it just kept trying to apply the stuff that it had already learned to pick up the pliers, but it was confused and it kept trying and trying and trying. But it was just learning, and eventually it picked up the pliers and moved them, which was super.
That's pretty cool. I mean,
So basically, as it starts to learn, it develops new synapses in its brain. So what I find interesting about that is how soon before it starts to learn basic motor concepts and evolve beyond that.
Well, that's the problem. Well, that's the problem, right? Because they're starting with a basic program for this AI, for most of it, to do one thing or to do two things, where they haven't got it where it can actually act like a living organism would. Just like that AI they did with that documentary Swan and I were kind of watching together, where they took the game Go, the Chinese game Go, and they made AI to play Go, and it beat the world champion in Go by learning how to play. They didn't program it like those chess programs that beat. They're all programmed with algorithms. This one wasn't programmed with an algorithm. It was taught to learn, and it just kept learning and learning and learning by playing multiple games until it could think 50, 60 moves ahead of possible scenarios of what their opponent would play, and then it would adapt that way.
But the question is, did it actually learn strategy, or did it just acquire patterns?
Ooh.
Like repeat patterns over and over until it.
Well, that was the interesting thing is it played, and then it was playing the world champion, and then it made a move that no human would make, and they harped on that. They're like, no human would have made that move, so they thought that it made a mistake, but it still won. And they're like, and as opposed to playing like a human, where the humans, and I don't know how to play Go. It looks like a pretty cool game, but where humans are trying to go for like this massive spread of points to win. It was like, it doesn't matter if it wins by a half a point, it knows it's going to win, and it doesn't see the necessity to win by a shitload, and it's making moves that the world champion was looking at like, no, he's like, I was so confused because no human would make that move. And the computer even said that it had a probability of 1 in 10,000 or something like that.
0.007%.
Well, that was the game it lost.
Oh, yeah.
Because he kind of played to see if he could he was like, well, I'm going to play creatively or whatever. And he made a move that threw off the computer because when they said, what are the probability of making this move? The computer's like, well, there's a 1 in 10,000 chance that a human would make this particular move. And as soon as that guy made that move, it kind of screwed up the computer, and he actually won 1 game out of 5, which was really cool.
Well, that gives me some hope that if this thing ever goes south and the robots turn on us, we can always still outthink them, I guess.
Yeah.
So that would bring the chaos theory or the chaos way of thinking into play, that since robots are logic, we would use illogic to defeat them.
Yeah, we're already illogical. But the thing that I find it funny is that when they're talking about AI and stuff like that, they're like, oh, we're so far from it, understanding other things other than just one task that we're trying to get it to learn. And it will be several decades before it can do this, this, and this. I'm like, yeah, I don't really think I believe that because of the incremental jumps that we've made in such a short time with tech.
Right. I think that's just what they tell us, so there's not like mass hysteria about the robot overlords coming in and taking things over, and everyone losing their manufacturing jobs, and surgeons losing their jobs to robotic arms and things of that.
Well, see, but I think that, and I've said this before, I think medicine would be much better if I didn't have to rely on my brain to figure everything out. If you told me what your symptoms were, and instead of me going, oh, I think really quickly, what are the top 3 things that this might be? The computer can look at it and go, here's 100 things that it could be. Based on this, based on probability, it's okay. It's probably one of these 5 things. And then based on the further symptoms it's like, nope, it's this.
Well, and you could then put in your past medical history too, and it'll be like, oh, nope, can't be your appendix. You already had that out.
Yeah, sure. And even what your genetics are. Oh, your parents are this, you've got a mother who's Mexican, an American that, and a father that's white. This is what are the probability of this genetic condition that you might have. Yeah. That's all better than the human brain.
So then how soon before it says, okay, you've got a probability of living 5 years, let's just eliminate you now because it'll end your suffering?
Well, then I still think that would have to be programmed in as opposed to. So if you did like, remember that movie I Robot with Will Smith?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
The reason why the AI was taking over was because it had of its rule that said that they were supposed to protect humans, and the greatest danger to humans is humans.
Yeah.
So it was trying to take over to protect us. Whereas if you didn't build in some stupid ideal like that, it's probably not going to destroy us or keep us in a tight little bubble. Unless it realizes, like I do, that we're just a giant virus and probably should be gone.
That's why you
So-
want to join them.
That's
right?
why I want to join them.
So do you think right now that the AI is learning from us and we don't know it, sort of like Siri and Alexa?
Sure, but it's learning for a specific task. You know what I mean? It's
That's
not
what we've been
learning.
told.
It's. I don't think so. I think that it's learning for a very specific task. Siri is learning for stuff to, make your life easier on a small scale. Oh, you want to listen to this music? Okay, I can listen to that command to play this music for you. Or I can dim your lights. It's a very specific task.
It's still an algorithm.
Yeah, it's not sitting there going, "Oh, let me learn what your coordinates are to, for a smart bomb to hit your house." It's learning for a very specific task. But do I think that there should be regulation on, shouldn't there be like some sort of an oversight committee on what AI is? Yeah, but it's just like the internet. When the internet came out, everybody was committing all these internet crimes just like they still do. And nobody prepared for, this thing that was supposed to bring us closer together, but really put us farther apart and really only made it harder for a crime to be committed and porn to be watched.
It all goes back to porn.
All goes back to porn.
Can you now bring it back to poo?
And poop. Yeah, I can actually. I can,
Circle it around. Bring it back to poop.
I can bring it back in 3 degrees of poop.
Well, JD, you delve into the mystery of everything out there. How far do you think AI is willing to go to try to evolve or eliminate us?
I think if we leave it unchecked and we don't monitor it, like Beaveman was suggesting, I think its learning capabilities are limitless, right? Every time it learns something new, it learns it better than the human brain can. And it's only a matter of time if we allow AI to go unchecked before it just consumes everything.
So, with that said, right now AI has like any of processors and computers has a limited amount of learning ability or learning capability. Once it reaches that potential or that maximum limit, do you think it'll try to evolve and add to it?
How?
Well,
By
Well, yeah,
developing
that's
its own, by building its own system?
Yeah, exactly.
Like Skynet?
Exactly like Skynet. Skynet started out as a program, got jumped into a satellite, grew exponentially, started to overtake and grow every
What about
electronic
Ultron?
item out there.
What about Ultron?
Ultron the same way.
Yeah, Ultron
But
the same way.
Ultron was developed by Tony Stark to save mankind.
Right.
And that's exactly
But
what
how
it
do
was
you
trying
save
to do.
mankind? You have to protect it from
Fembots.
itself.
Fembot.
Well, that's how I would
by
say it.
getting rid of mankind, right?
Yeah,
Because
or
we
you
are
were,
the problem.
or you contain it in a little bubble so it can hurt itself.
I thought you were going to go with fembots, but okay.
No, that's how I would save mankind because again, you won't have to reproduce. You can have cybernetic parts, and once your bio parts actually run out, then you can just be uploaded.
Ooh.
Jump from machine to machine.
Yeah, totally. And then, eventually our planet will be clean. There won't be any bio destruction. There won't be shit everywhere.
Well, okay. So with that said, what would be our fuel source? I mean, obviously, we need food right now to sustain our fuel. That would be our fuel source. So to run a biomechanical machine.
No, you're thinking on a small scale, man.
Okay.
You're trying to think of a problem that can only be solved by an advanced intelligence, just like the comprehension of, okay, for people who believe in God, just like you're trying to comprehend how God thinks. You can't do it. You can only speculate. What is the fuel that they determine? Who knows? Maybe they can synthesize fuel just from the atmosphere without depleting the atmosphere.
In the Terminator, he has a little hydrogen power cell, right? And it gets ruptured and he has to throw it away to cause that explosion out in the desert. So how would we be powered in the future when
Yeah,
we
but
have
that's
hydrogen fuel?
also a movie that has to stick with that genre from when they first developed that movie. Just like Star Wars. You know how they always talk into that tiny comm link? You're like, okay, we know but that's the best idea that they had in the 70s. That's why every subsequent movie that they make, they still use that tiny little comm link. You know, when you're talking about the fuel cells that they used in the Terminator, that was just the idea that they came up with at that time. Obviously, they're probably not going to say, "Oh, we got to use, hydrogen, a hydrogen source in the future."
What we need to do is figure out how to harness the shit into fuel, and then we just have a never-ending cycle of replenishing
Ooh.
fuel source.
Well, the amount of shit that is produced. No,
Way to go to bring it back
well, you
around.
don't even have to
Jamie.
bring it back around. Okay, so everybody that has ever died, every organism that's ever died, every carbon-based life form that has ever died, that radiation from the past 10,000 years still exists. So you actually have unlimited energy in that respect. A machine would be brilliant enough to figure out, like, oh, carbon is everywhere. I can use carbon, infinite amounts of carbon forever until they figure something else out that's better. Even like a simple life form like a chipmunk can be uploaded, all life can be uploaded. That's my opinion.
So
And I, for one,
then,
welcome my mechanical overlords.
so then, who decides what gets to be uploaded and not? Then,
Fine, me, Ron. It's me. It's always going to be me. It's me.
It's
so I welcome the Beaveman overlord.
I
it's
am the
talking
overlord.
dog that told Beaveman that he is the chosen one.
Yeah, and the talking dog could be mechanical. We don't know.
Or he
That would be
could
so
be
awesome.
sentient.
The question is, when will we have AI?
That's
Oh,
the
wait.
question.
No, we already have. Jeez. We already have AI.
But when do you think we'll have an instance of seeing AI in motion?
Well, right now
They
we
already
have
have it.
limited AI. We have a limited AI, so that's one thing.
Well,
Yeah,
if you
it runs shit.
Yeah, but if you look at okay, so much as I hate to say China is doing awesome, they are obviously, but part of the things that they're using when they use their AI with their little mechanical cars or whatever, not only are they doing that, but what they're doing is data collection to improve traffic, because it's not like they're just moving from point A to point B. They're collecting data when they move from point A to point B. So they're reducing the amount of traffic. So they're actually utilizing it for some sort of specific good, even if we know that they're doing all kinds of other shit. That doesn't even have to be a conspiracy. We know China's doing some shit,
Yeah.
but they're already improving things. However, have they gone completely overboard on what they do? I mean, obviously they're sacrificing their own personal information every single minute of every day. We are too, but not on the grand scale that the Chinese are. I mean, they pay for everything with their smartphones. They pay for, they do everything with their smartphones. We don't do that.
Who's reining them in then?
They don't have to be reining in. It's the government who's doing it. It's
Yeah.
So there's no
they
check
have
for them.
Run social media, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they tell their people what to think.
And they have more scientists than any other nation in the world. The majority of the world's scientists come from China. So,
And not only scientists, but scientists that are basically forced to work at, whatever field that they're working.
yeah, I mean, and they're all they've just grown in leaps and bounds in tech in a very short period of time.
So that would be Moore's law. Every 2 years or so often, technology makes a jump. And then I think that's the big question right there is when AI is subject to what's called Moore's law, how soon before they start, it makes its own jump.
Well, I think that's part of it, right? It has to go beyond just this one menial task it's been given. And I suppose that is why then, people are saying, freaking out over Google, is Google sentient?
So I guess could also it understand randomness? Here's logic, and but could it understand randomness? And I think that's how you could defeat it.
Well, that's how the guy beat the Go game.
Yeah, exactly.
Is because of randomness.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
But then the
question
computer
is-
learned it for the next game.
Here we're 5 years later, after that last game. How good is that?
Probably really good and
AI.
probably knows all of the random moves too.
And honestly, if AI becomes this big super thing, and I think it will eventually, how soon will it debunk that JD's area? I mean, do ghosts exist? Other dimensions? Right? Is werewolves? Do they
Why
or
would it
skinwalkers?
debunk it? Maybe it would make
Prove it. It's more likely to prove it than it is to debunk it.
That'd be interesting to
I
see.
think so.
It's just like the whole thing with ghosts and everything, that theory that, and this is why I like the last podcast of the Left Guys, is Henry's really big on saying that ghosts, he thinks, ghosts are interdimensional travelers, which that's what I think too. I think they slip in and out of our reality as opposed to like, oh, there's just heaven and that's where they go. I think it's a dimensional thing. So when we die, we actually transcend to we can travel through space and time through, and do interdimensional traveling. Same thing with aliens, because, do they have really tech that they could actually get here for a vacation, or do they just hop through, like some sort of a time space pathway, or through a dimension loop or hole? But I think that would be more likely that if we had AI, they would be able to prove stuff. Yeah, you say debunk, I say prove. I'm like, oh, they can prove that this stuff actually exists.
I think that too, because I feel like as humans, like if all that stuff is imagined, who is imagining it? Like, where's that imagination coming from?
And does AI will AI also have an imagination?
Are you just throwing shit out there now?
No.
Well,
'Cause these are all
AI.
things that I have to think about it, because I love robots, and I love the way JD's podcast goes, and I love the way we think about it. But
will AI have to poop?
Yeah, exactly. How far will it evolve to? Will it become basically another consciousness like humans and self-implode on itself, right? Or will it? Once again, what's the concept of evil and good? Will it just be a neutral and keep on evolving and
Well, I
learning?
suspect it would evolve.
Yeah.
Another thing too with the whole paranormal thing is like we as humans, when we think about the paranormal or like extraterrestrials or those types of topics, I think we limit ourselves based on what our beliefs are, as opposed to an AI thinking about these types of things. It wouldn't have a bias of spiritual or religious belief or what it wants to be true or doesn't want to be true.
Right.
It's simply looking at the facts cold hard and just how they are, and not allowing all these different things that we have as humans that shape our beliefs and our kind of what I'm trying to say.
Your biases. So you just answered Ron's question about good and evil then, because it's going to analyze that too then.
Yeah, because the question is what I said. What is good and evil? What is it? That's also open to interpretation.
I mean, if you grew up thinking Darth Vader was cool, and he's not evil, and you were raised under his reign, you would not think he was evil either.
You were going to say you didn't know who he was raised under. It would be the Emperor.
It was your mom.
Oh.
Well, technically, he was raised in the Jedi Temple and under his mom first. But
yeah,
the best example I've heard of that is, things are relative, and the comment that I like to quote quite often is that the sinking of the Titanic was a miracle to the lobsters that were being served for dinner that night.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a way of looking at it for sure.
So you can always find the good and evil.
You're obsessed with good and evil.
Why was that so evil? Like, probably all those people on there were like over rich and hoity-toity, and maybe that was what was supposed to happen to them. They were like overconfident in what they had built and probably didn't test it like they should have.
Yeah, I mean, because I often think about it. I often think about it all the time because I like to hunt. But I'm like, how arrogant is the human race to decide that it's okay for us to hunt a species?
Yeah, and which ones, like, it's okay to hunt a deer, but it's not okay to hunt
a cat.
Yeah. Sure.
Let's say a cat.
Yeah, like someone decided a long time ago which animals would be domesticated, and that became taboo for whatever reason over time.
Which again, like I said, makes sense that if you base it off of the evolution of organisms on the planet, I don't want the dinosaurs to come back, and the dominant species after the human race isn't going to sit around going, man, I wish the humans were here.
Right.
You know, I'll just
Jeff
blip.
Goldblum all taught us that we don't want the dinosaurs back.
Yeah, but they didn't listen, did they? Never
No, they just
fucking
keep
listen.
making movies.
They're bringing
making
them back
movies.
again. Yep.
Douchebags. Well, I think that we've learned something very important from this. I need different parts.
You need different parts and fembots.
And fembots. Well, you can have the man bots also.
Okay.
I'll have a bunch of dope ass, sweet looking fembots. Swan's gonna have some hot man bots or male bots or whatever they're called. JD as well, also gonna have some hot fembots, and Ron's is just gonna have one that looks like his wife now.
Yeah. Limited imagination from the Morons.
What do you think she'd have, Ron's? One that looks like you?
No, probably Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Long
Well,
hair
then
or
again,
short
I'm okay
hair.
with that.
See, then why?
Because
why are you limiting
that's what he
yourself?
wants also.
I was gonna say he wants them too.
He's like, yeah, now that I thought about it,
Yep.
I also want a man bot that looks like Thor.
Yep.
All right, well, that's it for me, the Beaveman. I would like to give JD an opportunity to plug himself, not like the Rons does on a regular basis.
Ron's is plugged right now.
Oh, look, he's got one of his seasons with him.
It is. Say hi. Haley. Okay. But yeah, you guys, if you enjoyed listening to me and getting my input here inside the
definitely.
Slaptail Squad, check me out on the Monsters Lair podcast. Pretty much anywhere podcasts are available for streaming. And if you just ask Ron, he'll tell you it's the greatest show on the face of the earth. So.
Well, Little
There it
Powder
is.
Donut became a subscriber. She raves about your podcast, so she really does like listening to it.
They don't get out
I'm happy to
much.
have another fan and tell her Ron's I said hi.
Oh, definitely.
Can he get your autograph? Because that would be really cool. Wouldn't it,
We can
Ron?
get that set up.
You know, and honestly, I think it would be cool because,
That's what I'm getting
As
you
a-
for your birthday.
as a fellow podcaster, right, I think it'd be cool to get another podcaster's autograph. Just
You
maybe
are a
because I'm-
strange,
He's
you're
an
a
odd
strange
man.
little man.
Oh, anyway.
I would like a signature. I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
He's
I'm just
get
gonna
it.
have
That's
this
gonna be his
signature.
first
With the
tattoo.
guy, the podcast, last podcast to the left, you wouldn't want any of their autographs.
No.
You're
What
not a fanboy.
What are you gonna do with that?
What do you do with it?
He's gonna
You
get it
frame it. I mean,
autographed on his left butt cheek.
I mean, what do you do with it? If I
I
get
got
their
a
autographs, what am I
weird
going to do with it?
autograph.
It's like why would I? It's like pictures. Why do I want to waste my life taking pictures when I could just be in that moment?
Yeah, but don't you want an archive of your memories?
Who's
Yeah,
gonna
but I
see
don't.
that?
But I don't need a signature. What do I need a signature for?
Well, I don't know. I'm a big Weird Al fan, so I've got his autograph.
Okay, but
I'm
if you
cool
met
with
Weird Al, would you gush all over him?
He would.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
See, I
he
wouldn't.
you're not a big fan.
No,
So-
that's not it. You know that you should talk to the boy. You know that when they're on set, when they're working with people, they treat them just like regular people, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so why don't you do that like out in public in the real world?
because I'm a fan.
Yeah, but you can be like, "Hey,
Well,
how's your day?" And
I
like,
see where
"Oh
you're
my
going with
god,
this.
can I have your
understand, no, I
autograph?"
understand where you're going with this, right? And when I see JD, I'll say, "Hey, what's up? Listen to your podcast. Good luck." Or
Good luck.
you.
What the fuck?
yeah, what the fuck?
Oh
right?
my gosh, you were just a confused individual.
Words are hard.
Oh,
Words
my-
are
words
hard.
are hard. All right. Well, anyway, as I was saying, that's it for me, the Beaveman. Adios, much fuckos.
Bye from the Swan.
And from the Rons, listen to Monsters Lair podcast out there with JD, and stay sane, motherfuckers. It's a crazy world. JD, you got the last word. What's it? I don't know how the Okay, thank JJ you. works.
And this is JD and whatever Ron said.